Welcome to another Fantasy Goodfellas video where we talk about the top 30 running back rankings for week 5. You ready?
I'm ready.
Fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom, boom, boom. Rolling on the field.
Fantasy Goodfellas. All right, before we get started on week 5's rankings, tell me how we did in week 4.
Okay, well, if you take out Elijah Mitchell, who didn't play, and Peyton Barber, who got hurt in the first quarter, we hit on 21 of our remaining 28 running back picks and 13 of our top 16.
Boom, boom, boom.
All right, that sounds good. So for the top 30 running back rankings for week 5, Richard, take it over.
And number 1, we have Derrick Henry at Jacksonville.
I have no complaints here. It just looks like Henry might just be a freight train going against that Jacksonville Jaguars, right?
Yeah, the question is, does A.J. Brown play? Does Julio Jones play? If there's missing those guys, the offense is gonna hurt a little bit. And number 2, Alvin Kamara at Washington.
Do you think Kamara can get in the end zone this week?
I think so. The usage is there. The touchdowns will come. And number 3, Nick Chubb at the Chargers.
Do you think Chubb can perform well, especially if they fall behind and they have to depend on the pass?
That will absolutely hurt Chubb. But Chubb is a machine. He almost gets 100 yards every week. It's whether the touchdowns will come or not. And number 4, Austin Eckler, home against Cleveland.
Eckler's playing amazing. Can he keep it up?
Absolutely, he can keep it up. As long as Justin Herbert is healthy, Eckler will have big games. And number 5, Ezekiel Elliott, home against the New York Giants.
We were concerned about Elliott having a share with Pollard. Are you having any concerns this week?
No, it looks like Ezekiel Elliott is not a 50-50 share, obviously. Zeke is getting more carries. So that was a big concern. But now we know Zeke Elliott is the man in that offense. And that offense is clicking. Elliott scoring touchdowns. All is well in Big D. And number 6, Saquon Barkley at Dallas.
You said it early that Barkley's going to need some time. He was the second running back last week. Does that continue?
Saquon Barkley is a talent, and he's getting healthier every week, which means he's going to rise in the rankings, and he's just going to continue to rise. I love Saquon. And number 7, Dalvin Cook, home against Detroit.
Is Dalvin Cook's injury holding him back?
It did in week 4. Hopefully it doesn't in week 5 because he has a great matchup. And number 8, Jonathan Taylor at Baltimore.
Do you see anything slowing down Taylor's performance?
Well, the Baltimore defense is pretty solid, but Indianapolis is starting to realize they have to give the ball to Taylor to succeed. And number 9, Aaron Jones at Cincinnati.
You said it. Aaron Jones is small. Dylan gets a lot of touches. And if Aaron Rodgers is running it in, then that's going to affect Jones, right?
Yes. A.J. Dillon is a concern. We'll see how that continues. But that offense is dynamic, and they have a good matchup this week. At 10, James Robinson, home against Tennessee.
James Robinson's looking good. How do you think he does this week?
Urban Meyer finally got it into his thick skull that James Robinson needed to get touches. And so far, the offense has been much better for it, and we hope the trend continues. At 11, Najee Harris, home against Denver.
Najee Harris is picking up. Do you think we can count on him for the rest of the season?
I think we can. I think he's a major part of the Pittsburgh offense. We know Big Ben's had its struggles, but Najee Harris has been a consistent producer now. And number 12, Antonio Gibson, home against New Orleans.
Why do you think they're just not feeding Gibson the ball? He's good, right?
Antonio Gibson is good, but Washington, had their issues, but they're starting to click. Heineke is starting to click with Scary Terry. That's going to open things up for Gibson. Now, if only he received more passes instead of J.D. McKissic. At 13, Joe Mixon, home against Green Bay.
Green Bay is going to put up some points. Do you think that bodes well for Mixon and including him in the passing game?
Yeah, he might have to catch more passes, but so far he's been inconsistent, considering he's supposed to be the bell cow back for an offense that is good and has produced. So we'll see, but I'm starting to worry about Mixon. And number 14, Chris Carson, home against the Rams.
Chris Carson did not do good last week. Are we going to be able to depend on him throughout the season?
We got deja vu from last season, and I think this is probably not the game for him to break out. They're probably going to have to pass a lot. but I expect Chris Carson to get one touchdown. And number 15, Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus Buffalo.
This is a shootout, so you're expecting Helaire to do good, right?
Look, Edwards-Helaire has shown improvement, and this week he's going to have to be a big part of the passing game. And number 16, Darrell Henderson at Seattle.
All right, just tell it to me. Do you think he gets into the end zone this week?
I think so. He's got a good matchup. That offense is rolling. Darrell Henderson looks like he's over his injury. And number 17, Zach Moss at Kansas City.
Well, some weeks you like Singletary. Some weeks, I guess you like Moss.
Yeah, but it's starting to become the Moss show. I like Moss. And number 18, Cordarrelle Patterson, home against the Jets.
All right. Do you think Patterson can just keep it up?
It's an anomaly. He's not going to score 3 touchdowns every week, but you know what? He is definitely a big part of that offense. He's catching a lot of passes out of the backfield. He's making plays. I have to include him. And 19, Chase Edmonds, home against San Francisco.
Well, not much to say about Edmonds, except can he keep it up and does he get in the end zone?
I don't know if he's going to get a touchdown, but here's a guy that's very underrated. He's in a great offense and he's produced. And number 20, Kareem Hunt at the Chargers.
You think he's going to get the touches this week and there's enough balls for both Chubb and Hunt?
Yeah, absolutely. The floor is still high with Kareem Hunt because when they pass, he's the guy that catches it. This week, he had a better week than Chubb. And number 21, Chuba Hubbard, home against the Eagles.
What can we expect from Chuba Hubbard this week?
Well, here's the thing with Chuba, right? He's going to get touches. He got them last week. We expect him to get touches again this week. But as we've learned in fantasy, just because you're the next man up doesn't mean you're going to produce. He's not going to be Christian McCaffrey. And 22, DeAndre Swift at Minnesota.
Does the roller coaster continue?
I think so. It's going to be a roller coaster. DeAndre Swift is a talent. Hawkinson is a talent. Goff is not. The Lions suck. And number 23, Leonard Fournette, home against the Dolphins.
Fournette looked good last week, but it seems like they're trying to give Ronald Jones a few more touches, right?
Yeah, his usage is inconsistent, but we know one thing. He's the pass catcher out of the backfield, which bodes well in an offense that passes a lot. And number 24, Melvin Gordon at Pittsburgh.
Do you think he's affected if Bridgewater doesn't play?
He's definitely affected. I mean, Drew Lock is going to be a downgrade for the whole offense, but Melvin Gordon can do it all. And number 25, Damian Harris at Houston.
The problem with Harris is New England seems to have a running back committee, right?
The game went badly for the running game, for New England's running game against Tampa Bay. I think it won't be exactly that way this week, but is he the number one? We still don't know. I think he is, and he's got a good matchup. And number 26, Latavius Murray, home against Indianapolis.
Well, it looks like Baltimore is committing to him being the number one guy, right?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what they told us, and that's what happened this game. So if the trend continues, he definitely has value. And number 27, Damian Williams at Las Vegas.
I guess Damian Williams is here because Montgomery might not play.
That's absolutely the reason why. Damian Williams actually came in, did well for Chicago. We know Chicago wants to run. They have a good matchup this week. And number 28, Josh Jacobs, home against the Bears.
Josh Jacobs was very involved in the last game. Do you think that trend continues?
He was involved. Peyton Barber was hurt. He doesn't look 100%. And like I always said, Josh Jacobs is not the man. He's not explosive. I don't like him. But if he's the number one back in Las Vegas, have to include him. And number 29, A.J. Dillon at Cincinnati.
Well, I think this is a first, having 2 Green Bay running backs in your top 30.
Yeah, well, A.J. Dillon got a lot of touches last week. If that trend continues in that offense, he's going to do well. And number 30, Miles Sanders at Carolina.
You said it before, Sanders' performance might be hurt by Gainwell's touches. So is that true?
Yeah, and right now, for whatever reason, Miles Sanders can catch passes. They prefer to throw it to Gainwell. Miles Sanders is supposed to be their 1A. So we'll see how they use him this week. But if he doesn't perform, he's out of here.
Thanks for coming on here and sharing your top 30 running back rankings for week 5.
It's my pleasure. Remember to like, subscribe, send your questions in our comment section. We're here all season, and this is what we do. We love fantasy football.
Fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom, boom, boom. Rolling on the field.
Fantasy Goodfellas.